As we're having our bowl of cereal for dinner, winding down after that big birthday party of yours.
Yeah. I still have some of that chocolate cake I want to finish off.
Yeah, welcome to it.
Yeah.
We're just talking about George and your relationship with George. And we were just talking about a few things, and you just started saying some stuff. And so I wanted you to continue on with being with George at his place and some of the other things that happened.
Oh yeah. When we finished All Things Considered.
Well, I was going to say something. This is actually the record that George gave to you.
Yeah, I hated it. That's the one thing really, it kind of tugged at my strings, made me just a little emotional. George gave me this actual very record, and it got soaked in our flood. You know,
I'm trying to keep it from getting
from
falling apart. It dried pretty good, but I don't know about the actual records.
But yeah, I gotta say, kind of touched me. You know that I lost this. Everything else, I didn't care about.
Well,
for some reason, it didn't.
This also got wet. I had just put everything in the console.
This is the 20th anniversary box.
These were not on the floor. It was in the console, and the console. got soaked.
Yeah.
I mean, so that got wet. The records aren't in there because everything's drying. So anyway,
this one, I was just saying, when George got the finished and got the first master pressing back, we went up into the music room at Friar Park in the big house. Hey, little Ben, what's up? My boy Rumi. But went into the big house, you know, and listened to it in the music room.
Just you and George.
George, me, Patty, Terry Dorian. I want to say Chris O'Dell was there too. I believe she was there as well. But he's persistent little fella. But it was pretty amazing sitting on that big old beanbag. Got the incense going and having a nice, you know, scotch and Bell's whiskey. And
what struck you most when you first heard it? Do you remember?
How big and powerful it was, and I was a part of it. You know, it was real strong sounding. I loved all the wall of sound because it was a wall of sound before. So that wall of sound was musicians, but then there was some halls and chambers echoes that were added to it. Just gave it some kind of put Phil Spector's stamp on there. But that's what George wanted in the first place, and I love it. I love all of the reverbs and the halls and the chambers, and I loved all of that. You know, that was a part of that record. You know, if it were to have been mixed dry, like we did Layla, you know, where it's just real bones, you know, dry stuff with real small amps and all that, wouldn't have had the same depth as All Things in this past album had with the addition of all the guitar players. But see, it's not so much the number of players. It was the fact that everybody was listening and fitting in. Not one place in that whole album did anybody get in anybody's way. So everybody's listening, and so everybody's contributing to their role in it, you see. And so you got that many people contributing at the same time. Wow. I mean, there was a couple of times when we had a lot of people playing at the same time. You know, I mean, you got the Badfinger boys on the wall. I mean, you got 3 extra guitar players, and then, you know, Eric and George on guitar, and then maybe Dave Mason, and, you know, various other people who...
A couple of drummers.
Yeah, changed, and, you know, from Alan White to, you know, I had Klaus Woolman on bass, but Alan White and then Ringo, and then Alan and Ringo sound pretty much alike. But then Jim Gordon came into the thing with Carl Radle. Wah-wah, we had two basses going at the same time. Klaus and Carl playing bass at the same time on Wah-wah. You know, Ringo, Jim, Gordon on drums, me in the middle of that, Eric, George, the boys in the back. I mean, and you got all that going at the same time. Billy Preston, Lord, don't ever forget Billy. And then the two Garys, you know, Wright and Moore. No, it's not Wright. Booker. Gary Wright and Booker.
Brooker.
Yeah, Booker. Right and wrong.
Jesus.
But, yeah, I mean, but you get all those people, and everybody's staying out of everybody's way. So it's just like there's creating this space, a musical space, you know, by not doing something, you know, by not overplaying just that little thing. And then everybody's thinking like that. And then suddenly all this stuff fits together like it was put together. And it wasn't. It just happened. But everybody had to be in that mindset, you know, forgetting oneself and just letting that whole thing, whatever it was that took care of the Layla sessions, the very same creative principle did that, took care of the All Things sessions. But All Things is just great because it's just like everybody was listening. That's why it made it so huge and gave it so much impact. So
when you were listening to it with George there, what was your thoughts on, wow, was it like I'm listening to this with George, and I wanted to know what he thought about it.
Well, he loved it.
He did.
Yeah, he loved it. And listened to it from one end of it to the other.
Did you listen to it just once, or did you listen to it a couple
times? No,
times?
Listened to it the one time, straight through. I mean, it was a good set, you know, to sit down and listen to, you know, the whole thing with jams and all. Yeah, man, it was, what a privilege and an honor to have been, you know, an integral part of the core band, you know. I remember him asking
People
Eric
wonder why you refer to it as the core band. Would you
That's exactly what George referred to it as. He asked Eric and me to put together a band, and we were going to be the core band of his new album. He didn't even know what it was going to be called or anything. And we were the start. It started with George, Eric, and me. That's really true. That's how it happened. And then Eric and I called Carl, I called Jim, initially Jim Keltner, but Jim Gordon was on the scene, and it was time, and so we got Jim Gordon in on it, and have Keltner not been recording with Gabor's album, he would have been in on it. Sure. But because that was originally who was to be a part of our core, and it was just great. Everything happened real natural, you know.
So when George played this song to you, and he said, well, what do you think? Of course, you apparently had no idea.
That was Paul McCartney?
Yeah, you had no idea.
No, hell no. I didn't know who it was.
Right,
you know?
And he thought it was kind of funny that you didn't know who it was, right?
Yeah, he did. He thought it was funny that I didn't recognize Paul McCartney. He said, that's Paul. I said, McCartney? He said, yeah. I said, wrote yesterday? I could hardly believe it.
And it didn't hurt George.
Yeah, George said it was Poppy, not me, you know.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it.
It was, but that's all right, you know.
Well,
different kind of stuff.
Paul McCartney has always been more poppy.
I love Red Rose Speedway. Oh, hell. I mean, I listened to all of Paul McCartney's stuff. You know, I did. I was keeping up on him and John Lennon when he did his thing. Of course, you know, All Things Must Pass in our stuff. You know, I listened to it when I was tearing across the country going nowhere.
And you loved Paul's bass playing. I remember you saying.
Huh?
You loved Paul's bass playing.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite bass players. Yeah. Real melodic. I used to listen to him play, and I knew that he wrote. And I thought, boy, what a great instrument to write a song around. All you have to play it. One note. Boom. Yeah. You go, scrambled eggs. All of them scrambled eggs. do 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 da da da. I thought that that's what he did with yesterday. He was going around singing scrambled eggs, and that's according to Eric. But yeah, I thought, well, what a great instrument to just write songs, because you could just sing the melody and just hit the one note and you're there, you know. But I don't play bass anyway. So much. Yeah, but that's it. That's it about listening to the all things. It was great, you know. I wasn't starstruck by George or anybody that I was with, because I was one of them, and I just really liked being around him. You know, being in his presence was a good thing. You know, we went to many times. We went to the Indian restaurant in London. I think it was called the Tandoori Ashika, and turned me on some real hot food. Yeah, man. I had something I ate once, and it started burning right here. It felt like a pin on the top of my head. Then it felt like pins sticking in both of my ears, and nothing would stop it. No coconut milk, coconuts, nothing would bring back the norm. You know, it was mighty hot. You know, but
he thought that was kind of funny too, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. But yeah, good times to have. And then when he's the one that gave me the keys to Sunny Heights, Ringo's old place on a estate on St. George's Hill. And
you went out to help pick out all the gnomes, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there, and when they unloaded them, and then I got out of the way. You know,
I thought you went out shopping for those things.
I did. I went with Terry Doran,
right,
and he picked up some of them, and a couple of them, like a couple of these little guys. But,
which guys do you remember?
No, they came from one of those, sales,
yeah,
with all that really nice stuff. You know, Patty, I think probably was the one that found those. I would imagine. You know, but I remember when.
Okay, so you're confusing me. Did you actually pick out some of these gnomes or not?
I didn't pick out anything.
Oh God!
I thought you said pick up.
Oh no, I thought
no, hell no, I didn't pick out any of those gnomes. I picked up some.
I thought you were.
But those gnomes represent the Beatles laying around doing nothing.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they represent. All four Beatles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Do you know who is who, supposedly?
No, I don't know that part. But that's who they
George
represent
tell you
the
that?
Beatles. And George told me that. Yeah. They represent the Beatles. Laying around doing nothing. Yeah, that's a little bit of truth. You know, a little more add to the story. Yeah.
Do you know anything else about that photograph?
Wellies, that's what, when I said wellies, that's what, rubber boots that we wore down in the little cavern.
Sorry about the rubber bands. They'll come off soon enough.
No, hell,
trying to keep that thing held together.
It gives it character.
Because it was
survive the flood.
It was soaking wet, and it was
yeah.
So sorry, I'm cutting your head off. Really cutting your head off there.
Yeah, but anyway, that's that. That was my George listening party at Friar Park.